So this video will show you how to take apart and clean out the rear derailleur on your bike. So as you can see here, my rear derailleur is pretty disgusting right now. It's really very dirty. There's all these black gucky stuff all over it. You even see it on the chain, it's pretty bad too. I'll need to clean that out as well. But the reason that it's like that is because it's just been through another Canadian winter, and winters really take a toll on bikes because you know, they put lots of salt and sand and stuff on the road, and you know, it gets caught in everything. It takes a pretty big toll out on whatever you happen to be using for riding in the winter. So what happens is the oil from the chain picks up, you know, everything that's in the air on the ground, so it gets lots of sand and stuff stuck in it, and then of course you're always adding more oil because the salt dries it out. So it just makes, you know, lots of oil, lots of sand, lots of stuff that's in here. So you get all these big chunks of black stuff which are right in your drivetrain. So I'm just going to show you how to take apart the derailleur so we can clean it out. So the way a derailleur works is it's got this spring in here which is used for taking the tension out of your chain, and it uses these two plastic sprockets, one up there, and they're what are used for taking the chain out. They tension the chain. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out the bolt that's there on the end from each of the two plastic sprockets. Other one's right there. We're going to take them out, and then we're going to clean inside those sprockets out, and we're going to clean the surfaces of the derailleur just to make it look a little bit nicer, and then we're going to put it back together again. So to do this work, you don't actually need to remove the chain, but it is helpful if you do loosen it off so that you're not going to be fighting against that spring that's in there. So that can be done very easily. All you have to do is just shift so that you're in your smallest chain ring there, and then at the front you can shift down to your smallest chain ring, or even just take the chain right off and just put it on the frame there, and it should give you lots of slack, so you're not fighting against that spring the whole time you're working on it. So with the chain in its most slack position, it should look something like this, with the whole thing rotated around this way. Our first step here is to remove the bolt that's on here. This one has an 8mm head on it, so you just need an 8mm wrench, and it doesn't have a nut on the other side. It's just threaded right into the other side of the piece of metal over there. So all you got to do is just rotate this off. So I'll just put my wrench on there like that and just rotate it off. So that's what that bolt looks like. It's just a short little bolt, and the threads go right into the other side of the piece of metal that's over there. So now with this bolt out of there, we should be able to pull the plastic sprocket out of there pretty easily just by pulling on the chain. So it comes off just like that. And as you can see, this is in really disgusting, dirty shape. So it really was overdue for this job, but it's April now, so it's just about time to have it done now that the winter's over. So there's actually three parts to each one of these plastic sprockets. There's the actual big piece of plastic itself, which is what you can see here. And then on either side there are these two metal bushings which fit in here, and they allow it to rotate a little bit more smoothly. So what I'm going to do now is just going to take a rag, just clean this thing completely up, get rid of all of this disgusting gunk that's formed itself on here. And then we're going to take the other one apart and do the same with that, but I'll show you what this looks like after it's been cleaned. So that's what all those parts look like after I clean them up a little bit. There's actually 4 parts inside each one of these plastic sprockets. As I mentioned, there's the plastic piece, there's 2 of these bushings, and then there's also this metal sleeve which goes through the middle there like that, and that's what allows it to rotate smoothly. So you just want to clean up as much of that junk as you can. This is all the stuff I pulled off of it. It's basically like plasticine, you know, what it ends up being after being there for all that time. It's just a lot of sand from what I can feel that's in there. But anyway, you just want to get them cleaned up as best as you can. You can see that these bushing things here are still a little bit rusty and stuff, but I have gotten most of the gritty stuff out of them. Really shouldn't cause too much of a problem with them being rusty like that. If you really want to spend the time doing it, you could probably take steel wool on there and get them nice and shiny again, but I mean, it's not something you're ever really even going to see anyways. They're going to be, you know, inside your derailleur, and I don't think it really makes too much of a difference how, you know, shiny they are inside there. So now I'm just going to show you how to take off the other plastic sprocket. So it's kind of hidden behind this part of the derailleur here, but when I swing it up, that bolt that I was talking about before is now visible again. So you just want to hold this here in a position like this, and then just get your wrench in there, and you're going to rotate that bolt off as well. Just like that. And once you got it started, you should be able to finish it with your fingers. And then that bolt should just pull right out like that. And you can kind of let go of everything and it'll all fall apart. So this metal back plate here is what goes on the back here and what your sprockets attach to. So once you've taken both bolts out, then it will be free and loose to fall off. So that's where there's two shiny spots are where the sprockets attach. So now here's your other gear here, so I'm just going to get cleaned up so it looks like the other one. So I've got this pretty nicely cleaned up now, but I also want to make sure that I clean out the derailleur itself. So you want to get this back plate here cleaned up as well, and also the back side of this surface here where the plastic gears attach on the actual derailleur. You want to get those cleaned up as well. And while you're in there, you might as well clean up every surface of the derailleur that you happen to be able to get access to while all those parts are removed. So I'm just going to clean it up, and then I'll show you how to reassemble everything. And another note, when you're cleaning this stuff up, there's a lot of small little edges that you have to clean up first. So for example, inside here, you got to be able to clean inside there, and a rag doesn't really work in there too well. But the trick that works for me is just take a flat-headed screwdriver and put the end of the rag over like that, and then that end can just fit inside there and get all of the edges that you want. You're also going to want to do the same sort of thing on the little lip on the inside of the bushing there. So just something like this on the inside of there should get it nice and clean. So before you put these back together, I'd always just put a little bit of grease inside of there. I just fill this little groove inside of the plastic gear out there up with grease, and try and get a little bit of grease in between the metal sleeve and the plastic gear. It's just going to make it roll a little bit smoother, and it's also going to reduce some of the noise that comes off of it. So now I've got the two grooves nice and filled up with grease. All I've got to do is just place those metal bushings inside of there. Of course, make sure you put the metal sleeve in there first, and they'll just go in there like that, and then this can go on the bike, and this bolt's going to go through the middle. So I've got my two plastic sprockets nicely assembled again, all greased up, ready to go. I've got my back plate so that it's as cleaned up as it can be. There's no bits of gunk on it anymore. So you want to make sure that you put this all back together again the way that it started. So please take note of how you did it when you started so you can get it the same again, because they are all a little bit different. But basically you want the chain when it comes from the back, the very first part it should go through is this part that comes up here, and then it comes back and it comes around and it goes around the other plastic sprocket which goes into this hole here. So I'm actually going to put this one in first. So just place the chain there like that, and then I'm going to put my first bolt through the hole there, and then take one of my two plastic sprockets. Usually the two are the same, sometimes they're different. You might have to take note of which one goes in first. And then you're going to put this back plate on the back there like that. And of course the back plate is a little bit different on both sides, so you got to make sure that it goes in there the same way that it was originally. So get the back plate in the correct orientation on the back, so like this, and then all you're going to do is just line up the two holes on the bolt. So line up the back hole of the bolt with the hole in the back plate, and then you're just going to tighten it up, and I'm going to use the wrench to do that. So once I got the first one in there, I'll put the back one in as well. So just put it in over top of the gear like this, and then just place it, line it up with the holes in between the two, the front and the back plates like this, and then just put your bolt through the middle like this. And then just tighten it on, make sure the two holes are lined up. You should be able to tighten that on. There you go. And after you got them in place, you want to make sure you get both these bolts so that they're pretty tight, but not so tight that the gear can't rotate, obviously. So now I've got everything back together. All I've got to do is just put the chain back on the regular chain rings at the front, and I'm pretty much done. You can see it's a big improvement from where it was before. It's much cleaner. It's going to run a lot nicer than before, and that's pretty much the end of the job. So that concludes my tutorial on how to take apart and clean out a rear derailleur on a bicycle. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. I'll try and get back to you as soon as possible. So thanks for watching.